How are we all doing, guys? I hope you're well. It's took us just 2 game weeks of the start of the new Sorare NBA season, and we hit a tier 1 reward.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
Let me tell you something.
We don't care.
Let's open it up, and I'll show you my game week 3 lineups as well to boot. Let's get into it. Before we jump into the rest of this video though, nearly 80% of you are not subscribed to us here at the Swingman Podcast. Now, if you love the NBA and you want to stay in depth with everything this season, and also the Sorare NBA stuff we're going to be doing, and trust me, you're going to want to stay involved with it, make sure you hit the subscribe button. It will really help us out more than you could possibly imagine. Let's get on with the video. Right then, on the homepage, as you can see, the rewards have dropped. 2 game weeks, and you know, we hit a, if I scroll on down to it, wasn't great in a few of the other lineups, don't get me wrong, but in game week 2, if we scroll on down, limited champion, 31st position, limited tier 1 there. It was good until I also realized that if you scroll over to the leaderboard, if you get a top 30 finish, you get a rare tier 3 included. So there could have been a little bit extra, but I'm not going to complain.
Are you sure about that?
A tier 1 limited to add to the gallery in the season 2 cards, especially with that in-season tournament coming up where you need them, is pretty good news. So on the screen right now is the collection of the players that you can get is a tier 1 card that's in there. Jordan Poole, I believe, was in there, but he's been removed. Cam Thomas is in there. And I know obviously he's sort of like the low L10 cheat code. He's going for about 28 quid, but I'm not sure if he should be in a tier 1. I think all of these here I'd be very happy at getting. I don't think I'm going to get sort of the Lucas, the Jokic's, the Embiids of the world. I think it's more going to be, it's probably going to be the more Cam Thomases of the world, if we're being honest. But if we could snag a sort of LaMelo, an Ant-Man, I don't really want a Dame. I have a rare Dame of him. So a Steph, an AD, someone I don't have is what I'm after. Right, well, we'll pick up the common card that we do. And as always, if I'd have won a limited card, I'd been giving it away. This we're picking up is a Nikola Vucevic of the Chicago Bulls, who have been doing very bad to start the season. So not particularly great there. Obviously, because we finished inside the rewards and the new format, you get a little bit of money now on the NBA side of things. So $12, just under 11, just under £10, I should say. So very nice to add sort of to the bonus gallery that we've got going on, to the wallet, and now the tier 1. I thought they'd have updated the design of this, but obviously they're still getting around to it. But in any case, let's rip it. I don't want to see nets. Okay, we've got an Ant-Man. I'll take an Ant-Man all day long. I'll take a new minted Anthony Edwards. I'm happy with that indeed. 52 out of 10. I think I've got his rare card as well. I don't have a limited version of him. Hopefully, he might even feature in the lineups I'm going to build. I'm going to build them right now, and we'll get back to you. Is that a W or an L? Let me know in the comments down below. Okay then, so building my common pickup lineup as ever. If I do win a limited reward in this, I think there's 150 of them that are still up for grabs. I'll give it away to a subscriber here at the Swingman Podcast. So make sure you're subbed, because nearly 80% of you, like I said before, aren't. In any case, we'll build the lineup. Luka Doncic will go as my MVP. We're slowly picking up the XP on him, as you'll see. 0.5 now, 5.5%. So it was good to get one of him early doors. Next door to him, Kawhi Leonard. We'll also throw in the Nikola Vucevic. Now, I know the Bulls haven't been doing great recently, and probably projections, Valanciunas might be better with the 3 games, or PJ Washington with playing the Rockets or something. But that game against Dallas, I've got a feeling the Bulls will do quite well in it, especially Vucevic. Dallas are known for having sort of big men struggles. Vucevic has got to sort of turn up in the next few games for them. The Bulls are going to be one of these teams where I feel I didn't back them at the start of the season. I didn't like that they didn't make any particularly big changes, but I'm going to run with Vucevic. In any case, 20 points left. If I go bargain bucket hunting, I can see that I've got a 14-point value of a Josh Okogie that I'll throw in there. That leaves me 27 points left. Marcus Smart or Derek White? Marcus Smart or Derek White? I am going to go for Marcus Smart with the defensive actions on that Dallas game. I like the Utah one as well. Derek White's good, but I feel that there's going to be others that try and steal the show in that Washington and Indiana game. That's not a game for Derek White, in my opinion. Famous last words. Let's move on to limited and see what I'm doing this week. Right then, in limited champion is what we'll do first. It's going to be hard to beat last week. 31st in the world, but we're going to try. that's always the aim here. So Luka Doncic MVP, obviously the one that I picked up at 6% now. So again, the XP is slowly rising on these cards the more and more we're playing them. And hopefully that's going to give us a little bit of an alpha, a little bit of an edge that we're going to get over other people. I could throw Ant-Man in here, but 52 is quite high, especially when I'm not going to run him as my MVP choice. If it's MVP, it's a bit different. 52, I'd be surprised if he hits that across Denver and or Atlanta, just because the Timberwolves have looked a little bit like the Timberwolves, I'd say, of last year. Not massively outscoring, and Ant-Man's going to only be Ant-Man when we see him without one of Cat or Gobert, in my opinion. Paul George at 43 is a little bit too high. Joel Embiid at 42. Now, it's a slight risk, because obviously this week there's a lot of teams that are playing 2 or 3 times. Joel's obviously only got 1 game. But it is on the November the 2nd, so it's later on in the game week. It's on the Thursday. He's got enough rest where I don't think it's going to be an issue for sort of a rest of a game management thing. And he's coming off of that 85-point performance against Portland. He did drop 65 against Toronto as well. So I feel like I have to play him, but it wouldn't surprise me if he does sit. It's just one of these things with Joel. You have to take it and leave it with Embiid. The final 2 spots here, I'm going to go slightly down because I'm going to run the Ben Simmons and Jordan Poole duo again. I think whilst their L10s are like this, I'd rather play them. I don't want to cash in on them. That's not how I'm going to play this version of Sorare in terms of my limited gallery, because I've actually got a good lineup that I can put together. If I didn't think I could win, then yes, you entertain the idea of perhaps moving and selling on these cards. But Jordan Poole and Ben Simmons, L10s of 18. I'm expecting Ben Simmons to hit double that, probably. 36 is where I'd imagine him to be. Jordan Poole's a little bit different. He's been a bit flaky still. He's still only getting in and around the 30s. The Boston game, I don't expect anything out of him. But the Hawks game, I can see him being put up on Trae Young. Absolutely no defense. I know DeJounte Murray might jump on him instead, but I'm hoping for a 35, 40-point mark game out of him there. That leaves me with 42. Now, in my original gallery, I didn't really have anyone in the 42 realm. I couldn't play Ant-Man, couldn't play Paul George. Bradley Beal is still out. And I mean, he might be a game-time decision. I mean, they've got him as a did not play, obviously. But he might be a game-time decision. But I don't want to run that risk. I went out and I looked at some of the projection guys and sort of Karl Anthony Towns could fit the cap, but I wasn't too interested in him. There was a few others that were there or thereabouts. Domantas Sabonis was someone that I strongly looked at. But one of them that I liked again was Fred VanVleet. Now, I went out and picked up his new card. I paid a little bit more extra for it for that XP bonus because, as you saw, 0.26 of a point cost me that rare tier 3 card. So if you have to pay a little bit more, it's probably worth it for the XP. But I went and picked up VanVleet, and primarily the reasoning I have behind picking up a VanVleet is strange, because you're going to be looking at it like, well, he's only got 1 game. There's lots of guys there you could have chose that had 3. The game is against the Charlotte Hornets, as you can see on the screen. I just wanted to double check that you could see. If you go back and look at Fred VanVleet historically, against the Hornets, he's done very well in the past. He had a 63 on them last year towards the back end. I know it's April and the teams are sort of tanking and everything like that. But he's shown as well in this Rockets team early on against the Spurs that he can run the floor a little bit well against them. And Fred VanVleet has got history of hitting 60-point scores. It's not out of the realms. I know this is on a different franchise, but it's not out of the realms for him. He can do this. So I know it's 1 game and it's riskier in that sense, but I'm going to run the risk. I don't think people are going to pick him, and therefore it gives you a differential for it. It gives you a little bit of alpha if something changes, a little bit of a differential, and we love that here. So I think with Luka, with Embiid, with VanVleet, with Paul, with Simmons, there is strong potential for another hopefully good reward in Limited Champion. And hey, look, if you're not in the top 30 getting that rare card, even if I think top 50 pays a tier 1 on Champion, so it's pretty damn good. Let's go and have a look at Limited Contender and then Underdog before we hit our rare lineups. Right then, with Limited Contender, obviously no MVP, 110-point cap, so we're going to skip these sort of higher budgeted guys. We'll scroll on down here. So I've got Bam Adebayo here at 35, and the Heat have looked a little bit funny is the word I use. I do like that Brooklyn game because I think Nick Claxton's going to be out, so I really like the Brooklyn game here. But like I mentioned earlier on, I don't know why. It's just a feeling. It's nothing to do with projections. I've just got a feeling the Bulls are going to do well against Dallas, especially Vucevic with the center issues that Dallas always have. I'm going to roll with Vucevic in this one. That leaves me 18 left on average. If I scroll on down, Aaron Gordon is a perfect Limited Contender mode card. L10 to 29, he looks like he can always give you that 40 mark, which in contender is good to try. And I don't think this contender lineup that I've got is going to win necessarily, but I think there's a chance for a reward, and that's all that you can hope for. We'll scroll on down again. Some of the 20 guys here I really like as well. I'm going to make sure I just go and get my sort of cheaper guys planted in there and then see what I can work with. So if I scroll on down into the cheaper versions, I've got Georges Niang. I've been banging the drum on him now a few weeks. I think there is going to be like a 20 to 25 point game in there coming soon. He hit 16 against the Pacers. He's got 2 games against the Knicks. I do think that Cleveland's going to get options for 3-point shots with Georges Niang on those wings. So I'm going to throw a Niang in there. That then leaves me with 20 left for the 2. Now, Jalen McDaniels is someone obviously at the Raptors now, but they've got 3 games this week. And I think because of that, he's projecting quite well. This is me trusting projections. I could not tell you if I could expect Jalen McDaniels to be entering the rotation in a bit more. Obviously didn't play against Philly, but he did get some games in game week 1 and 2 here. The Philly game, obviously, because it's in game week 3. But the point is that he's getting in the rotation. 8 is his average, and it looks like that's where he's going to be there or thereabouts. But because there's these 3 games, you never know with it. So I'm going to trust the rotations. That then leaves me with 32 left. With the 32 left, obviously, I could go for RJ Barrett, playing the 2 games against the Cavs. But I think I'm going to go for Franz Wagner. 31 L10. He's got 3 road trip games, which isn't great. But because he has 3 games, and he's 4.5% for me, and I know that he can't sort of go mental in terms of over outperforming his cap. So I'm looking at the bar graph there, and I've realised I'm covering it. So I'll move myself just for now. He can't go mental in terms of outperforming his cap. There are scope for 40-point games with him on the Magic, but I think he's the best option for the cards that I've got, and I don't want to go out and pick someone up because I don't think this lineup is too amazing. Do I think this can win? Absolutely not. Do I think it could maybe get like a tier 4? Absolutely, and I'll throw that together. There we go. Limited underdog up next then. Obviously, the cheapest game mode that there is in theory, even though it normally means that the low L10 guys that are good are going to fly up in value in any case. But 60 of your overall points here. Where can I spend them? So we'll scroll on down to the bottom. Again, Sam Hauser, L10 of 4. He's in the rotation for the Celtics, but obviously it's Sam Hauser, so you can't expect too much. That leaves us with an average of 14 left. I'm going to throw Jaden Springer in there. He has been coming on at points for the Sixers. I'm not expecting too much from him. That then leaves us 17. There is some stuff we can do with 17 here. GP2 is someone I'll definitely throw in at 14. I think Shake Milton I would add in, but I think he's a doubt, so we're gonna swerve that one there. Chris Boucher is someone I've had since like the beginning of last year. He'll always be a sort of floor like filler guy for the Raptors. 17, but he has 3 games, so we'll throw him in there. That then leaves us with 20 left. And between Gabe Vincent and Robert Williams, I'm going to back the Time Lord. And that leaves us with a limited underdog team. All of these should get minutes, and that's all you can kind of really hope for. But again, limited underdog, I couldn't tell you. If I had guys that are really, really good in low L10s, I'm going to probably put them in contender or potentially in champion if they're that good. So you kind of have a middle ground with your underdog where if one of these goes off and you got the call wrong, at least you have a backup. And that's what I like about having underdog around this season permanently. Onto the rare lineups. Now, for rare lineups this week, I'm actually going to change my strategy up a little bit. Now, hear me out. I'm waiting until this game and the new season has been settled in for sort of, I would say, at least 7 to 10 game weeks before I'm going to make a video on how I feel about the new season, things that I like, things that I don't like, and what I change and what not. 95% of it is all good. I feel at the moment, and this is probably a my gallery thing, I don't know if it's you guys as well, with Rare Champion, it is a little bit too hard to win. And that is on the premise of the 65 cards. And that the 65 cards is including... Where is it down here? Again, I'm covering up a little bit. But that's including 25 of them that are tier 4s and tier 5s. Now, don't get me wrong. Tier 5s and tier 4s absolutely have their place in the reward system. Especially on the NBA mode more than any of them. Because a tier 4 and a tier 5 can eventually become a tier 2, tier 1. Like we've seen with the likes of Cam Thomas this week. When players come into the rotation and go out of them, that's how the reward pool fluctuates. But for now, it's a little bit too hard with my specific gallery. So instead of building my rare champion lineup first off of this, and don't get me wrong, I've still got a good rare gallery, I think. I've got Devin Booker, Damian Lillard, Ant-Man. I've got good MVPs. But because of how, like, not having a Jokic or a Giannis or some of that ilk at the moment, I'm going to structure and focus on rare contender. Now, there's double the reward pool. Obviously, there's no cash in there at the moment. But there's double the reward pool. And also, because where my gallery is at the moment, I think I can build a really good rare contender lineup this week. Now, if I scroll to the bottom of this, obviously, I have a Malcolm Brogdon rare. At 16, he's going to way outperform his cap in theory. Obviously, the projections are good. Jordan Pool's the same thing. I won him as a tier 3 back in the playoffs. And there's an example of how the reward pools can fluctuate for you. That then leaves me with 25 as an average across the last 3 spots. Now, Jaylen Brown is someone that I mentioned at the start of the Season 2 videos that I was doing. Last year, he was like my first main MVP guy that I bought. And obviously, because I've had him all this time, he's now at 15.5% for me. I throw him in, I'm at 23 left for the final 2 positions. Now, I can go for either Jaylen Brown and Marcus. I can go for, and not having Jaylen Brown there, I could pick, where am I going with this one? I could pick DeAndre Ayton and Marcus Smart, leave me with 22 and throw Gary Trent Jr. in there. Gary Trent Jr. again, the Raptors are sort of, you know where you are with him at the moment again. He's like a starter 6th man for the Raptors now. Back again, and they've got 3 games this week, and none of them are. The Portland game's nice, the Bucks and the Sixers are not, but 3 games with a shot of outperforming 22. I'll take that all day long. Now I can go for Marcus Smart and DeAndre Ayton here, or Markelle Fultz because he's got the 3 games. But I think the better look is to go for Jaylen Brown and then Bruce Brown with the 2 games as well. I think that as a rare contender lineup has a lot of potential. And like, if we go back into and we look at the reward pool that we're seeing for rare contender, if I'm sitting at around the top 40 to top 80, I'm hitting a tier 4 rare, which I think is doable with that lineup. I really do. Whereas on the rare champion side, for this week in particular, if I'm looking at tier 3, I need to get top 40 in rare champion. And I just don't think that that's doable with the lineup that I've got. And like, if I look at this again with the rare champion side of things, this is the lineup I could throw together if I don't do that. Now, Devin Booker, don't get me wrong, he's still a doubt. He's not even a confirmed sort of, I think he's questionable. I don't think he's doubtful. I think he's questionable, and it could go to a game time decision. And now, obviously, as you can see, November the 1st and November the 3rd, he has a game on Friday. So there is chance he plays against the Spurs, of which then I would kind of want to have him. Dame has gone on a really good game and a really bad game for the Bucks. And do I trust him in this scenario in rare champ that would then take away from the potential of rare contender? I don't know. Brown, Paul, and Brogdon are all solid picks. So I'm not sure where I want to put the cards this week. And I haven't had this in a very long time. Primarily because of where the sort of arbitrage is on the rewards between contender and champion. What would you do? Because obviously I'm going to tinker this if there's news that comes out right before lock. But what would you do? Let me know in the comments down below. Should I be focusing on that contender lineup that I just showed you, or on this rare champion lineup? Now, for argument's sake, let's say we go for rare champion, as that is the always focus on champion mindset of that's the way the best rewards are. That's where the super rares are this year, and the money as well. So if I selected this as my lineup, and we'll cancel the other one, I'll show you my rare contender one if this is my champion one. Now, underdog, and we'll wrap it up. So then, like I said, if that is my rare champion lineup, I'll scroll on down through these, and these are the sort of cards then that I can go for. Aaron Gordon again, he's going to be in there when he's at an L10 of 29 for me. I think it's a no-brainer. DeAndre Ayton this week, I also really like. I really like Bruce Brown as well. If I look at sort of the cheaper players, I don't want to put Sam Hauser in this. Utah, 2 games against the Spurs, I can back having that rotation player at an 8. That then leaves me with 22 remaining, which is Gary Trent Jr. And I think that, again, it's nowhere near as good as the original rare contender team that I showed you. But I still think that that is good. But let me know, what should I do? Should I prioritize the contender this week or the champion? I'll quickly build my underdog one. I don't have a projections. I don't have anything set that I think for underdog. So I'm just going to build this right now live, and we're going to do this in one take as well. This is where I'll put Sam Hauser in, if I scroll back on down when I go down to the bottom of it. Sam Hauser there. Ish Smith, he's not really been getting any minutes in any case. JaVale McGee has. Do I think he's going to do anything? No. Will I put him in there? Yes. Javon Carter as well. Fonticini has started getting minutes again, so we'll throw him in there. And then 18 leaves me with. Well, I'm not putting Jordan Poole in there. Is Bol back? I don't think Bol's back, but do we take the gamble that Bol's back and people aren't playing him? Yes, we are. That's what we're going to do for that one as well. That leaves it up to date with Rare Underdog and all of my other teams that we've got there. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you haven't subscribed, what are you doing? Subscribe to us over here. The NBA podcast that we're going to be talking about at the start of the season is going to be coming out soon. And all the videos on Sorare are going to be keeping you up to date with everything you need to know in the NBA, plus all the good reward videos that we're going to be doing. That has been this video done. This is one take too many, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Peace.